Welcome to another episode of Behind the Dreamers with the Starter Girls. I'm Jennifer Loading.
And I'm Brianna Drelis, and we're talking to the achievers, the creators, magic makers, and the dreamers.
These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills, photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you are here in the Dallas or surrounding area and looking for some photography work, check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him and his work at photosbywalt.com. All right, we are super excited. We got Brianna coming in on the camera today, and we have a guest in studio. So this is actually kind of a fun dynamic here. We've got our co-host on camera today, and then our guest in the studio. We're kind of like reverse. But for our listeners, so first of all, Drew, welcome to our studio and Behind the Dreamers, brand new show.
Thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate it.
We're excited you're here, and I'm going to tell our audience a little bit about you, and then I'm going to let you share with us that title that you have up there, because I know they're all going to want to know what that is as much as I do. All right, so Drew Myers is is that an Enlivener? Enlivener?
Yes.
And a story seeker. He gives others the opportunity to share their story with the hopes that they also embrace their story. Through his podcast and speaking engagements, he showcases and celebrates individuals who have given themselves permission to live radically honest lives, pursue their dreams, and live on purpose. I think this is going to be a good show. I'm liking this already.
No, money well spent on my PR people.
That's right. You had a great website. Made it easy for me because Brianna knows, like, we have to get these bios together every week, and I love it when they're already ready and I can just do a copy paste function. It works well.
There you go.
I don't have to be created. So welcome. We're super excited to have you here.
Thank you. Congratulations on the new show, by the way.
Thank you. And Brianna, you just raise your hand or chime in whenever again. Like, we just kind of keep doing this. We're doing great with it. But I want to open this up, Drew.
Drew, we're excited to have you.
Absolutely. So, Drew, tell us a little bit about what this Enlivener is. Let's open up with that.
Okay. It's a title I gave myself. I mean, that's the long story short. I was applying to teach continuing education classes at Tarleton State University and TCU. And I wanted to go in and teach about what I talk about to people, about living on purpose, stop saying I'll do it tomorrow, make the important things important. And I was selling real estate at the time, and I didn't think real estate agent really captured what I was doing. I was like, I've got to give myself another title. So I just Googled and searched Wikipedia, dictionary.com, and I found that word, and I fell in love with that word. And the definition of an enlivener is anybody that makes any situation better. And I was like, well, that's me. So there you go.
I like it.
It doesn't say that on my degree.
I love it. That's so. It's
doesn't say it about but I love it
because so many people feel like they have to conform to titles, and they don't have the ingenuity to go outside the box and come up with something that is truly indicative of who they are and what they're trying to bring to the world.
Well, it's so funny. I get more questions about that title than anything else.
Well, and that's kind of what you want.
That is right. It's kind of piques interest.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, if you have if you're at it, let's be honest. If you're at a networking event, I do a lot of networking, so I know, and you've got a badge on that says that on it, somebody's going to walk up and be like, tell me what that is, right? Smart marketing. So, but I think it's great when you talk about this, like the short version, because I went to your website and I'm like, he has a short version and the long version of what this is. And I'm like, okay, I love this. It's like you got the people that really want the details and you got the people like me. Give me the bottom. I want the inversion here,
Yes.
So this
absolutely.
is great. It's great. Okay, so Drew, tell us a little bit. I've been following you for a while now, and I know you're into a lot of different things. I know you run. I do all these different things. But what I want to know is, tell us about all these things you got going on. This speaking, like maybe a little bit about how did this kind of evolve for you? How did this come about for you?
11 jobs in 11 years after I graduated from college.
Wow.
That's how it happened. My dad told me when I was growing up, if I wasn't happy with what I was doing, go do something else. And I embraced that with both arms. And I was just finding my way for a long, long time. And then it was after my last real job, and I use real in quotes, I was selling real estate in Glen Rose, Texas, and they moved a radio station to town, and my life completely changed. They asked me to be the news and sports director on the morning show. So I woke up every single morning at 4:45. I went in, I did the news and sports, got off the air at 9 o'clock in the morning, and the idea was to go back to the real estate office, but I wasn't loving real estate at the time, so I just hung around the radio station. They eventually gave me my own show, and it's just been going ever since. And that hasn't been that long ago, Jennifer. It's only been 6.5 years.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I was well into my 40s when
Yeah.
my trajectory changed.
I like that word. I know it's a hard word
I
sometimes.
know it's hard to say, but I went for it.
Yeah, no, it's good. Well, and I think this is interesting that you said 11 jobs, and it's interesting because the show that's going to air before, the show that aired previously, we were talking about that, how most people go through life and never really figure out what they enjoy doing. They sort of have this mindset that this is life. Like, I go to my job Monday through Friday, I hate it, that's life. And deal with it. You should deal with it. We all should. And I think it's remarkable when you finally have that moment where you recognize, hey, this is something I really enjoy doing. Like I just had this conversation. I think it was this morning. I had this conversation with my husband, and I said, I really should have went through college and studied journalism and like business. Like I went through and studied accounting, and we joke about this all the time because like I'm really good at numbers, but accounting, no, I don't care about numbers enough to care about that. But I think it's so great when you do that. Like you go through this whole course, and all of a sudden you have to have all these experiences that you go through, and then you realize, hey, this is where my gift is. This is what I enjoy doing and I'm good at. And
Sure,
you get
absolutely.
to pursue it.
And to take it a step further, sometimes you have to do things to realize what you don't want to do. I mean, my 11 jobs in 11 years, that helped me figure that out. Some of the stuff I love to do, and I
Sure.
worked for some amazing people, but some of those jobs, I was like, no thanks. I need to go do something else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you do. You learn that every experience is a learning, good or bad. You learn something. You know either what to do or what not to do from it. So that's awesome. So you just had a book come out. Am I correct? Something
Yes.
just came out.
September,
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
the tacos and chocolate diet
Tacos and chocolate diet.
has nothing to do with losing weight. It has everything to do with living on
Chris
purpose.
is throwing arms up in the air. I don't know if Brianna, if anybody, you could see that. He's got his arms in the air back here.
Yeah, you're not going to lose weight eating Mexican food and peanut M&Ms, Chris. But it's all about living on purpose. It's my story for the first half of the book, and then the second half are 10 lessons that I learned along the way from those 11 jobs in 11 years, from realizing my biggest fear in life is being irrelevant. So I intertwine my story into those 10 lessons as well, and the response has been unbelievable with the book.
I love that. And it came out in September?
September,
So
yes,
brand
ma'am.
new. Yeah, wow. Well, congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
That's awesome. I'm going to check it out. Tacos and...
I got a copy for you in the truck.
Okay, good. What's it called again?
The
Tacos?
tacos and chocolate diet.
Tacos and chocolate. I like tacos and chocolate. You're not losing weight on either one of them, but they both sound good. Brianna's got
So,
something.
Drew, tell us about this process, because when we first met you, you were kind of going through the book writing process and the editing and all of that. And now it's finally out, and that was a journey for you. So I'd love to just kind of hear a little bit about maybe the lessons learned, or, if there's people out there listening, like, to stay with it. We've all three of us have published books, so we know that there's this process of, going through the journey of putting a book out there. And there's times where you're like, oh my God, is this ever going to like be done?
Absolutely. So the first part of the process is writing the book, obviously. And a lot of people have asked me since I wrote the book, they said, how did you do it? And I was very intentional about writing every single day. And there's some days I didn't feel like writing, but I still got up, between 5:30 and 5:45, and I wrote for 45 minutes to an hour until the book was done. So that was the key. And then when I finished the manuscript, I looked around and I was like, what the hell do I do now? I didn't know.
Right.
And I just started asking a bunch of questions, and I learned a lot. I did self-publish the book, but I did it with the help of a best-selling author out of Idaho. I was introduced to her. She was a friend of a friend, and she kind of held my hand throughout the process. And I learned a lot about it, from editing and cover design. To be honest with you, there wasn't a lot of changes that were made in the book. Some of the stuff that was recommended, there were hills to die on for me, so I didn't change them. I had a vision in my head in regards to the cover, so we worked through that. Was it easy? No. Was it undoable? Absolutely not. It was a learning process. So I'm working on my second book now, and that process will be a lot easier because I know a lot.
Yeah.
I learned a lot in the process. Not undoable though.
Yeah. I think that first time writing a book, because I think you go through that, and I know Brianna can agree with that because I'm sure her second one was much easier than the first one, but you don't know what you're doing. I mean, it's like, how do you get this out there? What do you do with it? Like, and for me personally, like when you said, there's certain things you wanted to die on your hill, those had to be that's kind of how I was. And my hardest part really, and I'm going to be honest with you, in writing the book was coming up with the outline. That was the hardest part, getting my thoughts in a pattern of like, how am I going to get this organized and get it out there, So doable, yes. Hard, yes.
But my hardest part with it wasn't necessarily the outline or even writing the book. I honestly thought, why would people care about this? Why would people want to read my book? There was that imposter syndrome. And I really had to work through that, probably years through the course of writing the manuscript of who gives two craps about this. Right. So once I got past that, and to be honest with you, not to spoil the book, Thanksgiving of 2019, I kind of hit my low point. I hit rock bottom, and I came out of that. And I realized if I can come out of this, a lot of people can come out of it, and maybe they'll get something from this book. That was the thing that validated the tacos and chocolate diet.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited to read it, definitely. I think we all have a story, and I can agree with you on that. I think we do that too. Even maybe you still do. I do that with content sometimes. I think, do people really want to hear this stuff? And I think, yeah, they want to hear it. Thank you. He's got the book right up there. Check it out. The Tacos and Chocolate Diet. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for sharing. Good stuff. We need Brianna back on so I can talk to her over there. I can't see her, and then I feel like then I forget she's right there. This is good. Okay, so you're speaking. You've got this podcast going on right now. Am I correct? Do you have one podcast or two podcasts going?
Like 5
I was going to say, you got multiple things. Tell us about these. What's going on with these?
So my podcast itself is kind of in a hiatus.
Okay.
But I also do a podcast with singer-songwriters on the Texas music scene called The Road Less Traveled. That's ongoing as we speak. And then I also do community podcasts in different communities across the region, where I go into the communities and tell the stories of those communities through the stories of the people who live and work there. So it's everything that I do, from the book to my speaking to the podcast, revolves around story. I'm big on story. You mentioned in the bio, I'm a story seeker. I love giving people the opportunity to tell their story with the hopes that they embrace their story, because I firmly believe that we're all masterpieces, one of a kind and rare, and story celebrates that rarity and that beauty. So, and I think a lot of people don't get the opportunity to tell their story.
Right.
So I just turn the mics on and give them that opportunity. And sometimes the stories are good. Sometimes they're compelling. Other times they're not. But I still think people deserve the opportunity to share their story. And you guys are doing the same thing.
Yeah, and that's why I'm shaking my head. I agree with you totally, because I think even in business, if you take it a step further, I don't know how many sites I go on, and one of the things that I learned coming from the network marketing background is that stories sell. People connect with people when they have stories, right? And so something I had heard very early on, like that, is that nobody cares what you're selling until they know why you're doing it, right? And so many times when I'm talking to people, like I can't connect because I don't really know what's in there. Why are you doing what you're doing? And I don't, to be passionate about what you're doing, we're getting into a deeper conversation, but to be passionate about what you're doing, you got to know why you're doing it, and you got to be pulled to why you're doing this. So to get back to what you love to do, all of those pieces, you got to know why you're doing it. And there's a story in there, right? And so I think you're pulling that out of people. And when they embrace that, it really connects them back to why they're doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? So it's a profound thing is what I'm saying. I love it.
I think one of the problems in our world that we live in is we're not listening. Once you know somebody's story, you genuinely listen to what they're saying and you give them the opportunity to tell their story. There's a level of understanding and there's a level of empathy there. I firmly believe that you cannot hate another person if you know their story.
Right.
You can disagree with them.
Right.
You don't have to see eye to eye on everything, but there is a level of understanding and empathy once that story is out there.
Sure.
So I just want to give people the opportunity to share their story, whether it's a singer-songwriter on the Texas music scene, a pro athlete, an author, somebody that lives in my community that just has a good story that needs to be shared. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And Brianna and I did get to attend one of your shows. When was that, Brianna? When did we go? Was that last winter?
Yes, that was, who was that cute girl that we saw?
She was a country singer.
Did you see Kylie Fry?
Yeah. Kylie Fry.
Was
I
that
was
her?
going to say corn dogs, but it was French fries.
Corn dogs, French fries, same difference. Yes,
They all
Kylie
go
Price.
together. They mesh well together, right? Ketchup, mustard, you're all good.
That's my second book.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a great show. Really enjoyed it, and it was very it was very engaging. It was very engaging, Drew. It was so cool to be able to witness the road less traveled in person, featuring, the music and the storytelling, but then also the venue itself, like bringing the community aspect of it with it's the Texas Theater.
We did it for 6 months in 2021 at the Texan, and then we moved to a new venue called Cattle Creek Music Hall for the second 6 months, but in Greenville, Texas. Yes, ma'am.
Cool. Yeah. It's just such a neat environment.
One of the cool things about the Road Less Traveled that we did over the course of 2021 is we gave back to a local nonprofit. So we brought in these singer-songwriters. We gave them the opportunity to share the story behind their music. We also brought in a rising star. Who was the rising star for Kylie Fry? Do you remember? Our emerging artist? I can't remember.
Oh.
It all runs together for me now.
remember.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
it's somebody that does maybe not get that opportunity. So
It was a boy. Yeah.
it was a boy.
I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I
It was a young
remember
man.
because didn't we meet him? It's all good.
I'll remember on my way home.
Yeah, it'll hit you in the car ride on the way out.
But so we're celebrating music and giving people the opportunity to get to know these artists in a completely different way. But we added a nonprofit component to it. And through all of our shows, through 12 shows in 2021, we gave away $60,000 to nonprofits in Hunt County. And that was awesome to me.
Yeah.
So that really just kind of tying a nice red ribbon around a really awesome present.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So this is kind of a deep question. Given everything that you've gone through, these 11 jobs, I think this is just incredible. What would you say to your younger self, knowing what you know now, advice-wise?
I'm not big on regrets.
good.
I don't have any. My father, with all of his deficiencies, gave me probably the best advice that I ever received. Number one, if you're not happy with what you're doing, go do something else. And the second thing is nobody consciously makes a wrong decision. Whatever decision you make is the right decision at that time based on the information that you have. If I could go back and tell myself one thing, though, if I had one quote unquote regret, I would have served our country. I'd have gone into the military. And I know that would make my father happy. He always wanted me to go to the Air Force Academy. I wasn't smart enough to get into the Air Force Academy, but I would have served and then come back. And I think that would have given me a little more focus on what I wanted to do. So that would be the only thing I would change based on my story.
Sure.
But advice wise, I think I always got the right advice at the right time.
It's good.
I just kept my heart open, kept my eyes open, stayed very aware, and you're just presented with these little nuggets that kind of guide you along the way.
Wouldn't you agree? Or maybe go ahead, Brianna.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in on that, kind of to piggyback on that. We're talking about these 11 jobs over 11 years, and you're saying you always kind of kept that open for yourself to listen to what's next, or to take that advice, or whatever that might be. Would you say that that's something that kind of like kept you moving forward? Because that could have been kind of daunting, that consistently every year you're getting a new job. Like, what kept you moving forward, even though you just kept, I don't want to say dead end after dead end, but it's at some point you're probably just like, all right, like when am I going to figure out what I want to do?
Sure. For a lot of times, I shouldn't say a lot of times. Sometimes I got bored. Sometimes I felt unappreciated. Sometimes I just kind of lost that fire for whatever it is that I was doing. Other times, really cool opportunities presented themselves. I wasn't looking, but an opportunity presented itself and I couldn't pass up on it.
Sure.
So it's kind of been a strange journey in that regard, that there was no, and it definitely wasn't on, May 25th of every single year I changed jobs. Some years I changed jobs twice, and other years I changed jobs every other year. So it wasn't, I didn't set my calendar accordingly.
Right. Well, I think that gets back to what I always say, is that our lives are not linear. They're very non-linear. Life is non-linear. If you think about the weather, everything is non-linear. And I think when we tap back into reality and recognize that it isn't, I think it opens us up to being not so set on a direct path and opportunity can present itself. I heard I don't know how Jordan Peterson puts it, but I love following a lot of his stuff. He's such a deep thinker. I mean, you can get raveled in that, but he always says, don't get so set on the direct path, because when you do that, you shut down all opportunities that come your way. And so I can see, yes, like what Brianna was saying, there'd be those times where you go in and you're like, when am I going to hit that? I think we've all, as entrepreneurs, hit that spot where we go, man, am I ever going to get this going in the right direction? But there's that part of us that has that abundance mindset that we get up the next day and I don't know about you guys, but listen, I get up and I can talk myself into a whole new chill spell and get in a frenzy and excited about something all in a 5-second conversation. I'm ready to go. Like right now I'm getting excited again. I'm thinking about like all the stuff we're going to create. So we have that fire that gets us up the next morning and just keeps us going. And we know that every little thing that enters our path is another opportunity that's just getting us closer to the next big thing we're looking for. So, and I can certainly relate with you on the boredom part, because I get bored pretty easily too. So,
but you nailed it when you said looking for those opportunities. Just staying aware is key. I think so many people in this world, they just bury their head in the sand and they bitch and complain about the job that they're in while their head is buried in the sand. But if they just took their head out of the sand and just looked around for opportunities, those opportunities are going to present themselves. Yeah. Maybe not next day, next week, next month, but they will eventually show up. But you have to be looking and you have to stay aware.
There's no like green flag or anything that's going to be like, hello, that's your green light, right? They have cognitive dissonance. That's what it is.
Okay.
That's like my favorite word. I took this social psychology class right when COVID hit because I was trying to get smart and see if I could understand people. I didn't learn a thing about people. They still do weird things. I did learn a lot of things, a lot of interesting things that explain a lot of what's going on right now. But cognitive dissonance was the word that I picked up on. Everybody has cognitive dissonance, I'm convinced. So
okay,
right?
Drop the mic.
That's it.
Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it.
That's it. So this is good stuff, Drew. Good stuff. Okay, so what's on the horizon? What do you got coming up? What's the next big thing you're working on? The new books. You're gonna have a new book coming out, right?
New book. It's Stop Eat. Can I cuss?
You've already done that. You're good.
I did already cuss. It's Stop Eating Shit Sandwiches. It has everything to do with how we talk to ourselves.
I love it. That's
one of the chapters in the Tacos and Chocolate Diet, but I really put an emphasis on it. We all talk to ourselves, yes. And a lot of times that's negative and unkind and destructive speak. So I'm just bringing that to the spotlight. Really want to focus on that again, sharing more of my story and how that fits into it. So I'll be working on that, and that'll come out this year at some point. I need to get to writing, but that's the plan.
That's the first
come out
step.
In 2022. And to be honest with you, the road less traveled is kind of, are we going to continue, or are we not going to continue, or are we going to take it on the road? That's one of the things that we've talked about doing, is do it at historic theaters across the state of Texas. I don't know. We haven't made that decision yet. So a lot of things coming out of the holidays, and COVID is it resurging? I don't know. It's still here for sure. Still trying to make some decisions for 2022, but I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I think it'll present itself.
Absolutely. It always does.
Yeah. I feel like, even with us, when we decided to redo this show, I mean, I think it just all kind of happened very quickly. There was not even, we didn't have this discussion mid-year, 6 months ago, go, hey, come January, we're going to do this. No, it just sort of kind of evolved into that. And even so, since that's happened, we've had some other business things that have sort of kind of morphed and kind of come out of nowhere. And so I do think all of this, if we talked about everything that's in this conversation, is really just keep your eyes open for opportunity. Don't be so set that you can't evolve. Like we talked about early, morph.
That's right.
Morph into something else, right?
One thing that I do know is I want to speak. I love to speak. It's my favorite thing to do. Give me a mic and let's ride. I love to generate hope, inspire action, and remind people to make the important things important, starting with themselves. That's what I do every time I stand in front of a group now. Whether that's a nonprofit, whether that's a small business in Glen Rose, Texas, where I live, or if it's a Fortune 500 company, I love to do that, and I'm really turning up the knob on that as well. So
very good, very good. Well, that would have been a good question for us to ask. What do you love to do?
Speak.
That's it. We got it. Right, Brianna? We've
seen it. We've seen it in action. With the road less traveled, we've seen you on stage and how you light up, and it's really powerful.
I am this close to nailing down my first TED Talk. It's a TEDx, but it's down in College Station, and I've gone through the process. I'm through the second round, so we'll see how that plays out. It's never a slam dunk, but that would be really cool and could open up a lot of doors for me as well.
Definitely keep us posted on that.
Sure,
if that
absolutely.
comes up. That sounds exciting. So, yeah, I know. And you do have great energy. I think that that's one of the things that's remarkable about you is that you do have great energy and being able to speak in front of people and keep, the audience in queue with you is immensely important. So I love it. I think we should do some fun questions with him. What do you think, Brianna?
I think so.
You want to kick this
Absolutely.
off? You got something you want to start with?
Yes, it's so, you guys know me. I love to talk music. And Drew, with this road less traveled, I know music is a big, it's important to you. I'm just curious what your favorite, like who your favorite artist is.
I have a lot of favorite artists. I have a man crush on Drew Kennedy. He is an amazing singer-songwriter on the Texas music scene. Right now, I'm listening to a lot of Turnpike. Turnpike Troubadours are making a comeback. And you're the first people I get to tell this to, but I get to go see Turnpike at Red Rocks in May. I just found out.
Oh,
Fun.
So going to Red Rocks is on my life list,
Okay.
and I get to go and see them perform. So I'm super excited about that. So Turnpike's pretty heavy on my playlist right now. There is a singer-songwriter named Morgan Wade. I don't know if you know Morgan Wade. She's phenomenal.
I don't.
She's
these up.
a great singer-songwriter. And I have to share this. I have an artist that came on my show when he was an up-and-coming artist. He will be on Jimmy Fallon in whatever the 11th is, so in just a couple of nights. So that's really cool to see these
Yeah.
artists that have sat down with me in studio and now they're
We'll have to check that out. Definitely.
taking
Yeah,
off.
what's his name?
Oh, I knew you would ask me that. I don't know.
It's on the tip of his tongue.
Yeah,
Right?
Oh.
He's going to remember
Okay.
that one on the drive
Sorry.
home.
edit that one out.
Yeah. It's a great thing about doing edits on a podcast, right? You can edit out what you don't want on there. Good stuff. Okay, so to keep this going on the music, Brianna always asks the music thing. I do the books thing.
Okay.
But I do want to ask you, what's the first concert you've ever attended?
The first concert I ever attended.
Yeah, we have to ask this one
Okay. Can I ask why you're asking that
because
question?
we just do it for fun.
Have you ever seen the
It's funny.
Have you ever seen the TV show Ted Lasso? Do you guys know what this is?
Yes.
Okay. Well, he
Yes.
sits down with the boss and he's like, first and best concert. That's one of the questions he asks the boss. So
That's
if,
why you're asking?
if you've never seen Ted
Oh.
Lasso, I highly recommend it. It is a phenomenal show. To answer your question, first concert that I ever went to was Skid Row Aerosmith Reunion Arena. And I went to see Skid Row and not to see Aerosmith.
Okay, can I tell you something?
You were at that concert?
No, I wasn't that one, but I did Skid Row and Motley Crue.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's so
back
funny.
at the summit in Houston, like eons ago. So I always love to ask. We either she asks it or I do. We just do because it's fun.
It is funny.
And I think it's great because people, if you think about people, go back to story again, right? It's like your kids. They look at you in a certain way, and then they can never see you being another way, right? And so I always think it's fun when we ask these questions. We can kind of date people sometimes too.
There you go. I was a
Right.
freshman in high school. Skid Row Aerosmith
Skid
Reunion
Row,
Arena.
I didn't see
downtown Dallas.
I haven't seen Aerosmith, but I did see.
That's it. Joshua Ray Walker.
Is that the
correct.
person we're talking about? Okay, there
Yep.
you go. All right, good stuff. All right,
Oh.
Brianna, do you have another one? Another fun one?
Sure. What's your favorite kind of taco?
Okay, this is a funny story. It's not my favorite taco, but there is a taco that is named after me in Greenville, Texas.
Oh,
It is a vegan, gluten-free taco. So
vegan,
it's on corn
gluten-free.
tortillas. It's got beans. It's got rice. It's got avocado and pico.
I
And
would eat that.
And I had them make me this taco, and I did it enough times where they name it the Drew Taco.
it's the Drew Taco.
But at that same restaurant in Greenville, Texas, they have a taco. I think it's a pastor taco with pineapple on it, and it is legit. I feel like I'm cheating on my own taco when I order it, but that taco is pretty.
He's cheating on his
legit.
taco. That was a good question, Brianna. What's your favorite taco?
I thought about doing like a taco review, like going around and
El
reviewing tacos.
Pastor. El Pastor is mine.
Yeah, it's solid. It's a solid taco.
That's good. Awesome. Very cool. Well, the Drew Taco, if you're out and this is in Greenville,
That's
right?
in Greenville, Texas.
If you go out there, you need to check out the Drew Taco for sure. Sounds good. I eat corn tortillas, so I do my fajitas with corn tortillas. So very good. Okay. One last question. Besides your book and the one that's coming out. Who's your favorite author or favorite book? Maybe.
My favorite book of all time is Into the Wild by John Krakauer. When I moved to Oregon for 1 year of my life. And as I'm pulling out of my driveway in Wichita Falls, Texas, a buddy of mine that I worked with at the newspaper handed me that book, Into the Wild. And I referenced that book in my book. It's a tremendous read about Chris McCandless, who walked up and down the West Coast and eventually died in Alaska. Sean Penn made an incredible movie about it. But the book is remarkable. And the book is remarkable because of his takeaways right before he died. And I'll go ahead and tell everybody. I mean, the book's been out. It's not like it came out last week. Happiness is only real when shared. Chris McCandless walked up and down the West Coast by himself. He was a nomad, but he realized right before he died that it wasn't real unless he shared it with somebody else. And that was very powerful to me. So I love that book. Rhythm of Life by Matthew Kelly is another book that I really, really enjoy. I think it's fantastic. And I just was introduced to a new app called Headway. Do you know what this is, Brianna? Headway?
I don't know.
Okay. You heard it here first. So it's an app that you subscribe to. It costs money, but you get books, any book that you want, and they've squashed them down to 15 to 20 minutes. So they the meat and potatoes of a book. So it allows you to read a book or listen to a book in a short amount of time. And they do a 28-day challenge out of the gate where you can, let's say you want to focus on money or focus on success or focus on, fitness. And they pick your books for you and you can consume them in a rapid.
That's probably my kind of reading.
I know.
It's like fast.
I'm really excited. I just downloaded the app and I just got signed up, so I'll start tomorrow morning. It'll be part of my morning routine for the next 28 days.
I read a lot. I'm doing an accelerator type program right now, and it's just consuming me. So I've got like books on my list. So I read every single morning. Right now it's like read or do the accelerator program. We're talking 8-hour videos. It takes me days to get through them. So this will be something I'm going to be looking to along with those books you were talking about too.
Yeah.
So.
And you've got to read the Tacos and Chocolate Diet.
Yes, I'm going to read that one too. Good stuff. All right, Drew, Brianna, do you have any more questions you wanted to chime in on?
You know what? I just want to know where to find your book, Drew. Like when people are looking for this book, where can they find it? And tell us all about where people can get in touch with you.
They can get in touch with me at drewmyers.life. That's my website. It has everything on there that you need. The Tacos and Chocolate Diet is anywhere you get your books online. You can just go to Barnes & Noble. You can go to Amazon. Just search it up. It comes in the digital format. I think that's like $4.99. We have the paperback version, soft cover, and then the hardcover is coming out in the next couple of weeks, and then the audiobook is out there as well. Okay. I voiced the audiobook. That is the hardest thing I've ever done in the history of my life. Yeah. 13 hours for a 5.5-hour book.
Yeah, I've heard that. So good for you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
That's a remarkable accomplishment. I know, because I have not done that. I'm not excited about doing that. Brianna, have you done that on your books, done audio?
No, I was planning on doing it last year, and then it fell through the wayside, and I was okay with it. I was okay with letting it fall.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do that. You have to regroup. Well, congratulations to you, Drew. You're awesome. You're doing great things. I think you should do something with that road less travel thing, though. I like it. I think it's awesome. I think you should keep it going.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
The stories are good, and I think people really, they like seeing that stuff. So good stuff.
Cool.
All right, so we do want to say this has been fun stuff. If you enjoy our podcast, please be sure to give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook, because we can't do this without you, and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. And I think we've got a couple final thoughts here to leave you guys with.
Absolutely. So, final thought. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success. And that's from Thomas Edison. There's also a terrific quote from Vincent van Gogh that the great is a succession of little things that are brought together.
That's good stuff. Brianna, you did great today. Awesome job, friend. Good job. All right. To live the extraordinary, you must start, and every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We will see you next time.